Hello guys, I'm Dustin Davis and I'll update you on everything happening in Miami. Every NFL offseason brings moments where optimism collides with reality. Teams invest in big contracts, gamble on star power, and promise that a new year will bring different results. But once the games begin, those decisions are tested, often more brutally than anyone expects. For Miami, recent weeks have pulled back the curtain on both ambition and fragility. The team has doubled down on its core, committing heavily to cornerstone pieces, yet at the same time has been exposed by performances that highlight lingering vulnerabilities. What was supposed to be a fresh start has quickly turned into a reminder of how thin the margin for error really is. The questions now are unavoidable. Did the front office make the right calls, and can this roster truly deliver when it matters? From franchise-defining extensions to visible frustrations on the sideline, from the absence of departed leaders to speculation about new additions, every decision feels amplified, and it begins with the player Miami chose to stake its future on. Let's check out all the details. Before we continue, may I ask for your support? If you like what we're sharing, just take a second to hit that like button. It really helps us. Thank you. And with all that uncertainty in the air, it only makes sense to begin with the Dolphins' biggest offseason decision, their quarterback. Tua Tagovailoa's contract saga dominated headlines throughout 2024, with debate raging over whether Miami should make a long-term commitment to a quarterback whose injury history has long been a central concern. Ultimately, the Dolphins made their stance clear, finalizing a blockbuster extension that signals full belief in their passer, even amid lingering doubts. In July 2024, Tagovailoa agreed to a 4-year extension worth $212.4 million. The headline number was significant, but what truly stood out was the $167 million guaranteed at signing. That structure effectively ties Tagovailoa to Miami through at least the 2027 season, with meaningful financial protection baked into nearly every year of the contract. The quarterback confirmed the news himself, posting on Instagram, "I just wanted to say I agreed to a contract extension with the Miami Dolphins. I want to give a big shout out to Ross. I want to thank Chris Grier, Brandon Shore for working endlessly on this deal. I want to thank Mike McDaniel for believing in me. I want to thank all my other coaches as well." He also made a point to acknowledge his teammates, saying he was grateful for their belief and support. The deal immediately positioned Tagovailoa among the NFL's highest-paid players, ranking third in average annual value behind only Joe Burrow of the Cincinnati Bengals and Trevor Lawrence of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Both of those quarterbacks had signed contracts averaging around $55 million per year in the preceding 12 months. Negotiations had been contentious and drawn out. At one point, Tagovailoa staged a hold-in during Dolphins minicamp, taking the field for part of Wednesday's practice, but sitting out Thursday to exert leverage. The tactic worked, and Miami finalized the agreement soon after. Now the spotlight shifts from dollars to performance. After a difficult 2024 season, Tagovailoa enters perhaps the most pivotal stretch of his career. If the Dolphins once again fall short of the playoffs in 2025, both he and head coach McDaniel could face serious consequences. Critics rarely question Miami's talent. The real issue has been availability. Injuries and absences have disrupted continuity, leaving fans to wonder whether the roster can ever truly click at full strength. For now, the Dolphins' fast-paced offense remains built on volatility. Devastating when opponents open the door, but prone to stalling if execution falters. But even with that long-term commitment in place, Week 1 showed how quickly optimism can unravel once the games begin. That volatility was on full display in Week 1 when Miami suffered a lopsided 33-8 defeat at the hands of Daniel Jones and the Indianapolis Colts. Outgained by nearly 2-1 in total yards, the Dolphins looked disjointed on both sides of the ball. Star wideout Tyreek Hill, typically a spark of energy, was visibly frustrated throughout the game. His post-game comments stripped away any sugarcoating. "This was a big kick in the balls for us," Hill told reporters afterward. Hill finished with just 40 receiving yards on 4 catches, leading Miami's receivers in a game where little came easy. The loss came against the backdrop of lingering uncertainty around Hill's long-term commitment. After missing the playoffs last year, Hill had openly questioned whether Miami was truly a championship-caliber team, hinting in January that he was keeping his options open. "This is the first time I haven't been in the playoffs. I just got to do what's best for me and my family. If that's here or wherever the case may be, I'm going to open that door for myself. I'm opening the door. I'm out, bro." Though he later expressed comfort with staying in Miami, moments like Sunday, where frustration boiled over, show that his doubts are not far from the surface. Blowout losses magnify those emotions, and the optics of Hill's sideline reactions will ensure that they won't go unnoticed if struggles continue. The Dolphins' day worsened with injuries. Right guard James Daniels exited on the third offensive snap with a pectoral issue, while cornerback Storm Duck was carted off with a left ankle injury late in the first half. Neither returned. Jalen Waddle also appeared to hurt his shoulder or arm during the game, though no official update was issued. Quarterback Tua Tagovailoa endured a rough outing, completing 14 of 23 passes for 114 yards with 2 interceptions and a lost fumble on 1 of 3 sacks. The rushing attack managed just 78 yards, and Miami's top receiving duo of Hill and Waddle combined for just 70 yards total. For the Colts, the afternoon carried a different energy. Indianapolis honored late team owner Jim Irsay with a tribute that clearly galvanized the roster. Daniel Jones delivered one of his sharpest career performances, throwing for 272 yards and adding 2 rushing touchdowns. The Colts scored on all 7 of their drives, narrowly missing their first shutout since 2021. For Miami, the defeat wasn't just about one game. It exposed cracks in a team that entered the season expecting to contend. And those cracks felt wider knowing who wasn't on the field.
And while frustrations boiled over on the field, another storyline was impossible to ignore: the absence of a former defensive star. Among the most glaring absences in Miami's Week 1 collapse was Jalen Ramsey. The Dolphins spent much of the offseason sidestepping questions about his status before ultimately sending him to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Just 1 week into the season, the decision already looks costly. While Miami's secondary struggled against Daniel Jones, Ramsey was busy making his presence felt in Pittsburgh. He sealed the Steelers' win over the Jets with a crushing hit on Garrett Wilson on 4th down, jarring the ball loose and ending New York's comeback bid. It was a signature moment, the kind of physical, decisive play Miami badly lacked. Ramsey's debut wasn't flawless. He drew a 15-yard penalty. But elite players are defined by their ability to deliver in pivotal moments. And on Sunday, Ramsey did exactly that. For Dolphins fans, the sight was bittersweet, a reminder of what he once brought to their defense, now showcased in another uniform. The contrast was stark. Tua Tagovailoa delivered one of his poorest performances. The defense, revamped up front, still allowed Indianapolis to dictate tempo and exploit mismatches in the secondary. Miami's lack of leadership and toughness was evident, precisely the qualities Ramsey had embodied. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh's win, fueled in part by Ramsey and tight end Jonnu Smith, who scored on one of his 5 targets, underscored how the Steelers may ultimately benefit most from Miami's offseason shuffle. The Dolphins, now 0-1, are left to wonder whether they miscalculated by letting a proven difference maker go. The theme emerging is clear. The moves made in the offseason are already shaping the season's trajectory, and not always in Miami's favor. But the front office isn't standing still. Yet as questions linger about who left, attention is now shifting toward who could soon be arriving in Miami's backfield. Over the weekend, reports surfaced that the Washington Commanders were exploring trade possibilities for running back Brian Robinson. Though the Commanders have not revealed their reasoning, head coach Dan Quinn's comments suggested a parting of ways could be imminent. "Yeah, I'll keep that between us," Quinn said when asked directly. "News like that, it's not always that easy, but he's somebody that we respect a lot, that's for sure." According to NFL insider Ricky Scoops, the Dolphins are currently frontrunners to acquire Robinson. The report adds fuel to speculation about Miami's backfield concerns. The interest itself is telling. Devon Achane is sidelined with a soft tissue injury, the length of which remains unclear. Backup Jalen Wright struggled in preseason action, while rookie Ollie Gordon has shown flashes but remains untested at the NFL level. Depending heavily on a 6th-round rookie could be risky for a team with playoff aspirations. Robinson, who has scored 8 career touchdowns, could provide much-needed power in short-yardage situations.
an area where Miami has struggled. His rookie contract makes him a low-cost option, and if Washington is inclined to release him, Miami might only need to part with a late-round conditional pick. Why Washington would move on from Robinson remains puzzling. By most accounts, he has been respected both inside and outside the organization, especially after overcoming the adversity of being shot during a carjacking near the Department of Justice. Still, Quint's tone suggested a decision had already been made. For Miami, the timing could prove advantageous. A reliable runner with proven production might be exactly what this offense needs to stabilize after a rocky start. What do you think about Miami's decision to commit massive money to Tua Tagovailoa? Was it the right long-term move, or do the injury concerns still give you pause? When you look at Tyreek Hill's frustration after the loss to the Colts, do you view it as justified leadership or a worrying sign of deeper issues? Do you believe the Dolphins made a mistake letting Jalen Ramsey go, especially after watching his immediate impact in Pittsburgh? And finally, would adding Brian Robinson be the right step to strengthen Miami's backfield, or should the team focus on developing the younger talent already in-house? Leave your opinion in the comments about what Miami's main problem is. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Join the community for exclusive daily content. We're here to keep you updated with everything going on in Miami. See you next time.